Election Day next Tuesday, Malcolm. Who you got?
Oh, man, you put me on the spot. I'm about to go write-in candidate. Let's go with George Washington.
The best coverage of high school and college athletics in Northeast North Carolina begins now. This is NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Another power-packed episode of Northeastern North Carolina's best sports radio show, not biased whatsoever. We'll take this thing, I guess that would be a 360. We go back to George Washington. I like when people say, man, that was just crazy. That was like just doing a 360. Like, so you didn't do anything.
Exactly.
Nothing happened.
Gotta cut that in half.
That's a pet peeve of mine, just like first annual. Okay. That's the newspaper guy in me. Owen Hassel, sports editor for the Daily Advance here. And as always, that's Advance sports writer Malcolm Shields. Our guest to knock down all sorts of topics because once again, another big time episode for the show. This is a great friend of ours, Malcolm, Gates County native, now an assistant coach at Marshall, doing big things. The Herd coming close to home Saturday, taking on Old Dominion. So we got on the show welcoming Graham Carter Hobbs, the GCH. How's it going, buddy?
Doing well. I sure do appreciate this. Is my third appearance on this glorious show, and I could not be more thankful to you all for the opportunity.
Hey, 3 times is a charm for the GCH. So we'll get to a lot more with Graham here in a moment. But for more on Northeastern North Carolina sports, follow us on Twitter. Also use the hashtag NENC Sports to keep the discussion rolling. You can follow us at NENC Sports. Then for me, I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
Graham, you also have Twitter?
I do. At Coach GC_Hobbs.
Right. And there's more ways to stay involved with sports in Northeastern North Carolina in the form of a blog. Go to nencsports.wordpress.com for tidbits that aren't always in the Daily Advance, plus interviews and video from various Northeastern North Carolina games. Stay with us.
You can listen to Owen and Malcolm on YouTube. Hear your favorite shows and segments on demand with the WRVS 89.9 YouTube channel.
The WRVS 89.9 High School Game of the Week returns in December, featuring live varsity boys basketball games. And your business or organization can join in on all the action. Sponsorship packages are available now. Call 252-335-3985 and find us online at ecsu.edu/WRVS.
I'm a student athlete, which means I'm still learning.
I'm still growing.
I'm getting important lessons about perseverance, teamwork,
determination, respect, and dedication through playing sports at my school.
Mom, Dad, Coach, in a few years,
I'll probably forget a lot of the details, but I won't forget the lessons I learned
from the way you act towards my teammates,
coaches, referees, and other fans.
What kind of lesson do you want me to learn? I'm watching.
Sportsmanship, together we make the right call.
This message has been brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association.
What time is that? I took out 10 seconds to get to the dance floor.
You know what time it is, Malcolm?
Time is it?
Football tiebreaker time.
There you go. All right.
You're happy about it. This makes my head spin. Imagine what a certain Antonio Moore thinks about it.
Yeah.
So we got those things to work out. But first, basketball. That's right, basketball. It's coming. A few more weeks. High school teams are going to be playing a couple just before Thanksgiving. We're already in November. This year has just been spinning. So, got to note the WRVS Game of the Week schedule for basketball starting December 2nd. Gates at Camden. Oh, starting out with the big stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not mess around here, people. Gates at Camden. We're talking Coastal 10 championship. Not on the line, but I mean, that's going to definitely tell a lot. Those two teams were at the top last year. Gates winning the regular season title, if I'm not mistaken. Camden winning the tournament championship. So, of course, they're going to broadcast Pasquotank Northeastern, Elizabeth City State. That's where those two games are each and every year. Clay Mercer, our good friend's going to be on the call. Does a great job making us sound good on this show, of course. Be a lot of fun. Malcolm, want you to run down the preseason order of finish. We put this up early in the week. If you look at the Facebook for WRVS or any NC sports radio show, you saw this. But the preseason order of finish for the Coastal 10 and Northeastern Coastal Conferences, boys and girls.
All righty, we'll start off with the Coastal 10 boys. Got to go with Gates at number 1, Plymouth at number 2, Camden at number 3, Perquimans 4, then Ocracoke, Columbia, Mattamuskeet, Manteo, Crestwell, then Cape Hatteras. Player of the year preseason for the Coastal 10 for the boys, I'm going to go with Camden Zach Robeson. For the girls, Plymouth, then Ocracoke, Manteo, Perquimans, Cape Hatteras, Gates, Camden, Crestwell, Columbia, and then Mattamuskeet. And then the girls' player of the year will be Brittany Franklin from Plymouth. Northeastern Coastal Conference, I'm going to go with the defending champs Northeastern for the boys to come out on top again. Hereford County, then Bertie, First Flight, Edenton, Pasquotank, and then Currituck, and then DeMar Sutton, preseason boys basketball player of the year. And then for the Northeastern Coastal for the girls, I'm going to go with Bertie, then Currituck, Pasquotank, Edenton, Northeastern, First Flight, Hereford County, and then the player of the year, I'm going to go with sophomore Akia King from Bertie.
I'm looking at that, and I don't see anything off. I'm sure there'll be a change here and there. That's why you play the games, right. But that looks pretty solid. Northeastern is intriguing to me because no more Sean Walker Jr., now at High Point Christian. Right. No Trey Carver, of course, he's now at Hampton. What's going to happen? And DeMar Sutton got hurt this year in football. Right. Will he be? I guess he'll be 100%. He's playing football again, right. But there's still some questions with Northeastern, although you do like what Northeastern still has with Sutton, Clifford Shaw, Travion Freshwater once again.
The man-child.
The man-child, so freshwater, so clean. It will be playing basketball. It is hard to argue against the Eagles, but I don't think it's going to be as cut and dry as it was last year. You're talking about a team who got to the 2A East Championship and lost to just a fantastic Farmville Central team. Yeah. No shame in losing to Tyler May and that team. And then they went on to win the state championship and finished it just beautifully with a steal and a dunk between the legs. Unreal at the Dean Dome. I jumped out of my seat watching it on film. Unbelievable. So Farmville Central will still be a tough team in 2A. So the Almighty Kenston and some other clubs, Fairmont again with the cool gym.
I think I'm still sweating.
The Golden Tornadoes. But as far as conferences, that's a pretty good list. Gets people talking.
Yeah,
that's what we're about. We just get people talking. That's what the show is. What we're doing. We're talking. Aren't we talking, Graham?
Absolutely.
There we go. Let's make sure he's on the line. So
I'm just soaking in all of Malcolm's wonderful predictions.
Some good ones for Gates.
Yeah, he gave a little love to Coach Wayne Hathaway and the Red Barons.
They've had a couple good seasons. The girls without, you know who.
Caleb Ballard.
There you go.
Caleb Ballard. Caleb Ballard was a difference maker.
Of course, I've forgotten for a half second myself, but let's call it like it is because she left early last year. Could have played last year. Went early to Liberty. Now she can be playing for Liberty.
Very nice.
So that's a big time get for someone from Little Old Gates to be able to play Division I basketball. But Caleb Ballard was an unreal player for the Lady Red Barons. So good luck to her. All right. We'll get the basketball in a few more weeks. It's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. But football, a Husky, where Northeastern winning an outright conference title dreams go to die. Probably. Hereford County pulls the upset, 13-12 against Northeastern. This is Northeastern's first conference loss in 3 years. Malcolm, what happened?
One word, turnovers. 5 turnovers, 4 interceptions, fumble late. They had 2 chances at the end of the game. Even though they had to drive the ball maybe 75, 80 yards down the field, they still had an opportunity with some time left. And you get a fumble, then an interception. That's a tough way for Northeastern to win, but you got to give credit for Hereford County. From the opening kickoff, they came ready to play, especially defensively. They were aggressive, and I saw them gang tackle Travion Fresher than any other team that I've seen in this area. So that tells you that how aggressive that they were. They did enough offensively, and they just held on.
I think if Hereford County doesn't have a healthy Kyan Perry, they don't win that game. They needed the balance of him. He's been hurt a good part of the season. For him to be back and be 100% was a big difference maker because you know Hereford County can throw the ball. You've got capable receivers. And that's one thing that Northeastern has struggled with the past few years in the secondary.
Mm-hmm.
They like to blitz and on top of the blitz, and they've got the athletes to do it. So no one complains. But when you have a team like Hereford County, they can throw the ball around a little bit,
mm-hmm.
and you balance that out with a runner like Perry, who hurt Northeastern some last year.
Mm-hmm.
If people remember both those games, you got a chance. But
yeah.
Those turnovers.
Yeah.
Northeastern has like 2 turnovers. They still win the game by 15 or 20.
Yeah, early in the game in the first quarter, I mean, it's third down and goal at the 5 or 6 yard line, and you throw an interception at the goal line. You can't have that. I mean, those are opportunities that you got to cash in.
Why are you throwing? Travion Freshwater.
Yeah.
Why are you throwing at the 5?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? I hate the question,
mm-hmm.
but why are you doing that? This is not. I don't know much about football. I don't mind saying that, but some of it seems pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not I think sometimes things get a little too complicated, and
mm-hmm.
they don't need to be complicated.
Right.
Graham, help me out here. Follow me on this.
I agree. It's at times coaches can talk themselves into doing things because conceptually it makes sense. But at times you need to throw concepts out the door and just go with whether or not your guys are better than their guys and what you're good at.
And I'm just talking. I mean, it's common sense. Now, Thomas Paine talked about it. I'm getting that. But that's where we are. Hereford County wins, and that just makes things a little crazy.
Yeah.
Edenton back in the mix now for a share of the conference crown with Hereford County and Northeastern, a la 2013 when Takeout Hereford County put in Currituck. They've beaten each other. If all 3 went out, they'll take a piece of it, and they'll draw for the top playoff berth in the Northeastern Coastal. And how awkward would this be for Hereford County coming off such a big victory? You get a piece of the conference title, but you don't win the draw. You have 4 losses, so now you go from like a top 3 or 4 seed down to like 8 because of your winning percentage.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we go back to again with this winning percentage situation. If you're not a conference champion, then you better hope you have good winning percentage. That's all there is to it, because you could have 2 seeds from a conference, where I say the second best team from a conference going to the third best team from a conference. Take it in point first flight. Played a pretty weak non-conference schedule. Well, that's going to help them come playoff time. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what the Nighthawks did. They played Arcadia on the Eastern Shore and played they always play Manu every year in the Marlin Bowl, but teams that First Flight should beat now, and First Flight did that. First Flight led Dixon. If they'd won that game, imagine their winning percentage now.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. And I'm not even going to the scenarios yet. I'm just going over playoffs and winning percentages. So that being said, let's try to figure this out. Again, all 3 have a chance to split it if they win out, but all 3 have a chance, Malcolm, to win it outright. Okay, for the Northeastern Eagles, you made it more complicated. Good job. But if you're a fan of the Aces, the probability is low that you win it outright. Probably like more than 1 in a million. So you're saying there's a chance. Edenton must win out. They got to beat Bertie and they got to beat Currituck to finish 5-1. Northeastern must lose to Currituck, and Hereford County has to lose to First Flight. That would put them both at 4-2. Edenton would be 5-1. But here's another crazy part about that. Northeastern, who's been state ranked all season, that would put them 3rd in the conference because of the head-to-head.
Right.
Now, that doesn't matter, again, for playoffs because it's winning percentage, but that's the other part about this. Northeastern would probably still get a higher seed than Hereford County, even though Hereford County beat them because...
winning percentage.
Now, you get it. I don't have to say the words now. Say it with me, everybody.
Winning percentage.
Graham?
Winning percentage. That's wild.
That's very wild. Weird, wild stuff. So, Northeastern, wipe away the tears, though. Here's what you can do to take a 3rd straight conference championship without sharing. You had the one in 2013 where you did share. This would be your 3rd straight without sharing, which could have happened if you won in a Husky. Edenton can do it at once. You got the head-to-head there. But you got to beat Currituck, and Hereford County has to lose the First Flight. Then you got head-to-head with the Edenton Northeastern. Once again, Northeastern prevails. Hereford County. Here you go. Win Friday. Have your rival Bertie that you don't like beat Edenton. The Aces are out of the championship. A Northeastern win doesn't matter, right? Hereford County Northeastern 5-1. Hereford County has a tiebreaker. Follow me.
Yeah, I got you. No one saw that in July, but it's possible.
Anything I missed? If I missed something, tell me. I feel like I have.
It's all crystal clear, right?
Yeah. So I'm a little just flabbergasted from all these scenarios. Now, I don't remember it being this complicated in 2013. Mm-hmm. I think the difference was Currituck was going to be the big two, Northeastern and Edenton were going to be small.
Right.
That's where it helped. And then Northeastern Edenton head-to-head went to Northeastern, so they got the better draw. In the small two, of course, Currituck got the conference championship, quote, spot into AA and went 3 rounds. That's not happening here. These 3 schools will be small. I really doubt any of them will be big. I know Edenton won't. They're basically, like we keep joking, 1.5A.
Yeah.
One of the smallest 1As in the state, if not the smallest. Northeastern has been small the last couple of years. I don't see that changing thanks to the charter school, the NYAT, Northeast Academic Advancement Technologies, and NYAT, 4 A's in it. And Hereford County was small last year. Mm-hmm. I don't see them gaining 30 or 40 students from last year to this year to maybe move up to big. Okay. Oh, man. You know what, Malcolm? I missed a few other scenarios in the title race. Check it out. You know what, Camden? Camden, you can win the Northeastern Coastal Conference.
But isn't Camden 1A?
Are you underestimating Scott Jones? Are you doing that right now? What did I tell you about that? You don't underestimate Scott Jones. You just broke the first rule of the NENC club. I'm going to have to go over the rules again. The first rule of NENC club, you don't underestimate Scott Jones. Second rule of NENC club, you don't underestimate Scott Jones. Number 3, when Cresswell says stop or runs out of players, the fight is over. Fourth rule, only 2 teams in the fight, unless you need more players, like Cresswell, or Hatteras, or Mattamuskeet, or Columbia. All right, that makes 2.5 teams. The 5th rule, only Coach Antonio Moore can wear shorts after Thanksgiving. That's because no one else makes it that far to bother with the threat of hypothermia. Number 6, you can fight without shirts or shoes. Unless you're Paul Hoggard, then you wear a sleeveless shirt. And 7th rule, Travion Freshwater doesn't go into the Atlantic Ocean. Wait, did we underestimate Scott Jones? Scott Jones can push Travion Freshwater into the Atlantic Ocean. Them's the rules of the NENC club. I can't believe I had to tell you this again. You got to remember these things.
I think it'll stick in my head, but thanks for the refresher. Absolutely.
Speaking of Camden, again, this is why we don't underestimate Scott friggin' Jones.
Yeah.
Down 20-0 at Gates. Sorry, I got to bring this up, Graham. 20-0 down at Gates. Camden roars back, wins 35-34. Back-to-back rallying victories for the fighting Brandon Underwoods.
Yes.
And the Bruins. Unbelievable. Here's what's more unbelievable, though. For Gates, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Well, and of course it matters. You want to win every game. Follow me here. Gates has to beat Plymouth anyway to win the championship. They were going to have to do that whether they beat Camden or not. So the championship's still there for the taking. You can take Camden and just throw that away. Say, yeah, we should have won, but what the heck? Let's move on. You win the championship Friday by beating Plymouth. I don't even know who's Camden. Camden, New Jersey? I don't know where that is.
There you go.
It doesn't matter anymore. The championship still goes through Gatesville. Now, Graham, are you going to be able to slide down to Gatesville Friday night for that game?
I will be on an airplane Friday night, but I will be in Norfolk, Virginia. I will not be able to make it to Gatesville.
Tough. Is this one of the biggest games for the Gates football program?
I would honestly say it's probably the biggest game they've played since 2010.
What was 2010?
2010, they won the Tar Roanoke Championship and defeating North Edgecombe in a conference championship game at home. When they won, they were down 18-7 and came back and won 19-18.
I'm still on the Camden part of it, even though we just talked about how Gates didn't have to worry about it. Camden, Brandon Underwood. Here's a guy, athletic as all get out. Yeah. You saw the play against Perquimans. It's on video. Check it out. He did a few more of those runs against Gates, supposedly. And it's clicked with him and Coach Scott Jones. I heard somebody told me Coach Jones is kind of like an Obi-Wan Kenobi to Brandon. He figures, he knows Brandon. He gets him.
Very nice.
And they have worked well together these last few weeks, and the team has just started to get the option, which is hard. You just don't pick that up in a day. And they're finally getting it. Even then, they had 4 turnovers Friday.
Oh, okay.
One with 4 turnovers. See, Northeastern, just one less turnover. You win your game, right? Right?
Yep.
Don't underestimate Scott Jones. What are the themes for this show? Don't underestimate Scott Jones and winning percentage.
There you go.
That's it. If you don't learn anything else from this show, don't underestimate Scott Jones. Winning percentage.
That's so valuable things to learn in life.
Incredibly valuable. And so Camden, now they get Mattamuskeet and Creswell. They're going to go into the playoffs at 5-6, which is looks very nice considering where they were. And if Gates loses to Plymouth, not that it matters for playoffs because
winning percentage.
There we go. But they would be second in the conference.
How about that?
Bow.
Yes.
Bow to Camden for being able to do what they have done.
Absolutely.
Considering starting 1-6 and getting absolutely curb stomped by teams in the Northeastern Coastal, Pasquotank, Curry, Tuck, Northeastern, and Plymouth. Just Manio. They lost to Manio. Clemens beat Manio. So it's just been a great last couple of weeks if you're a Camden fan going finally.
Absolutely.
Some success. Well, Graham, you've been at Marshall how long now?
This is my first season. I've been here since August 1st.
Right. We knew it was your first season. Wouldn't know how long, obviously, you've been there because you were at Elizabeth City State. You got this chance at Marshall. What are some of your duties on the coaching staff for the Herd?
My official title is Offensive Quality Control. I'm responsible for all film breakdown of opponents, the building of scouting reports for opponents, post-game and post-practice film input for our coaches and players to be able to watch it, along with assisting the quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator in daily task and game day task, along with, for example, self-scout. I do thorough self-scout of our offense every week to analyze what we're doing well and what we're not doing well, so that we can move forward and be the best offense that we can be.
And you've played some big opponents so far. What has that been like going to play Louisville? Going to play teams like that?
I'll tell you, the Louisville game was it was pretty special just in terms of that was probably the peak of Lamar Jackson's hype. And after seeing him in person, you realize maybe if he's not Superman, he's pretty darn close. Wow. He's a special player, and that's a special team. They're an incredibly talented team. They never get any discussions on defense, but their defense is just as talented across the board as their offense is. And playing those guys, playing at the University of Pittsburgh, so playing at Heinz Field, playing against some great running backs such as James Conner, who's got such an awesome story, and who was downright one of the best running backs in the country. It was a tough start for us. It really was. It tested us early to play teams of that caliber.
And because of that, like you said, some struggles early in the year, but do you have a chance in this Conference USA race? Can you get yourself situated to maybe you can get a bowl berth? Is that possible?
It still is possible, yes. Now, we have dug ourselves a hole that would be difficult to get out of. but it is possible. As of late, we're one of the youngest teams, honestly, in the country. We probably play, in terms of guys who actually make a difference on offense and defense, maybe 5 seniors. And combined out of those 22 guys. So we're an incredibly young team who's went through growing pains, both offensively and defensively. And defensively, we started to get things figured out, and I believe offense, we're getting ready to take that next step, hopefully beginning this weekend in Norfolk. And, we still control our own destiny, so to speak, but it's a mighty tall hill to climb. But we got still got some work to do, but we still do have an opportunity to make a bowl game and make some noise in Conference USA.
One of the first thoughts that comes up when you think of Marshall is, of course, the plane crash in 1970, and there's a connection with Eastern North Carolina because Marshall played East Carolina, of course, and was flying out of this region and before the crash. What signs do you see in Huntington about that, and is that prevalent, and what does that mean to the community?
I say this, and I don't mean this to be, don't take these words the wrong way, but it literally almost means everything. There's self-identification with that one tragic incident that the community, that the university, that the football program identifies with. Coach Doc Holliday, who I'm lucky enough to work for, who's been a terrific head coach and coached on national championship teams before, he says that we have the most unique story in Division I football, and we do as a program have a story that nobody else can replicate, and it's not one that necessarily anybody would have wanted to happen, but it's part of who we are as a program. Actually, coming up this upcoming, not this weekend, but the weekend after, will be the anniversary of that plane crash. And with that, it'll be, during that game, we will wear black uniforms. On our helmets be the number 75, which is how many people passed away from that tragic accident. And it's just really something that we are that we embrace with the players preseason prior to training camp, as kind of a conclusion to summer workouts. They do a run throughout the city of Huntington, and they end up at the cemetery, and they just kind of all sit there and soak it in, and just that way everybody from the coaches and the players and everybody understands that we're kind of playing for something more. We're playing for more than just ourselves because of that legacy.
Yeah, I'd always heard for the longest time that the school declined any type of like Hollywood movie about it until more recently when they got to get hands-on as far as making sure it was done as tastefully and just as well as it could be done, honoring the people who lost their lives. Matthew McConaughey, We Are Marshall. I like the movie quite a bit. You could see some Hollywood elements, of course, to it, but at the same time, I think it hit on probably what the community was feeling. It touched me. I got emotional watching it the first time. It was tough. And I was sitting in a theater on the Outer Banks watching it first time. And a few rows ahead of me was a family I knew real well. They had a couple athletes playing for Manio, and the mother of the family went to Marshall. It was her first time seeing it. And I remember just looking at her once they showed the part of the fire and the crash and the people coming over. She just had tears streaming down. It was the rest of the movie for her. She was just a mess. And it just shows that some things time just doesn't fully heal. But that's what's so great about sports. Like, it can bring people together through so many different things. And I think this was definitely a part of that. And it sounds like what you're telling us, Graham, that just, it sticks with you.
Yes, it's been with this community ever since 1970. It's truly special. The people here care about football, care about Marshall football, maybe more than anywhere else in the country. And is that a parallel to the tragic accident? Perhaps. But I'd be willing to bet that there's not a single community that cares more about their collegiate football program. Like, obviously Tuscaloosa or Baton Rouge, those places are a little bit different. But if there's another Division I program that the community cares that much about its football, I'd like to see it, because I don't believe that's the case.
Yeah, when I was at UNC, Marshall came and played one year, and the crowd that Marshall brought, huge.
Wow.
Huge crowd. My folks came to see me that weekend at school. They go back to the hotel, and just Marshall people are flooding the hotel.
Wow.
The nicest people, though, really were. Just really good people. I think they were at the bar just talking to a few of them afterwards. And Carolina won, but it was a very competitive game, and nobody was really too heartbroken. I mean, obviously you want to win, but it was a great. It seems like Marshall travels well, and I guess you would. Is that still the case?
Yes, we've played 3 road games, and 2 of them in particular, the University of Pittsburgh playing in an NFL stadium. There was, to every 3 blue and gold shirts you saw a green and white shirt. I mean, it was literally at least 25 to 30% of the folks there were Marshall fans, and the same situation just happened this past week at Southern Mississippi. And Mississippi certainly is nowhere close to Huntington, West Virginia. And there was a sizable amount of Kelly Green shirts in the crowd that were cheering just as hard as they could for the Herd.
WRVS 89.9 knows sports. Hear the best coverage of local high school and college athletics with NENC Sports Radio Show. Thursdays at 7 p.m.
It's high school athletics back again.
Yes.
We're going to be with you every step of the way. That's all I'm saying.
From the press box to press row brings HBCU and pro sports to your radio Saturdays at noon.
We're going to talk with some of the top HBCU players and some of the top college players in the country.
From the field to the court, get your sports here on WRVS 89.9, your community voice.
This is John Wheeler, head football coach of the Currituck County Knights, and you're listening to NENC Sports Radio Show on WRVS 89.9.
Yeah. I've been down so long it look like up to me. They look up to me.
Back on the show, Owen Hassel, Malcolm Shields talking to Graham Hobbs, Gates County's finest, working for the coaching staff of Marshall, coming to Norfolk, Virginia to play Old Dominion this Saturday, Conference USA clash. Well, let's get to a little Shimon now.
Shimon, get on me, all right.
It was hard to formulate much of an opinion on this experimental playoff system, at least until I saw it in a few fall sports. And now that we've seen it, I'm not impressed on 2 fronts. One, how it lessens a team's body of work in a conference, and that it renders itself a loss experiment if it's considered a success and used next year. Going to explain. Boys soccer for Northeastern, as an example. Eagles played some strong non-conference opponents and struggled early, but they finished the regular season winning their last 4. Tied for second in the Northeastern Coastal at 7-3 with Currituck, but Northeastern is 8-9-1 overall. If you're not a conference champ, then it's all about overall
winning percentage.
Yes. And it's why Currituck and Northeastern, they don't need to face off a third time to consider who's second in the conference. It doesn't matter. At 8-9-1, it's possible the Eagles won't make the playoffs. At the very least, they'll be on the road. With this format, why have conferences? They just seed everyone on overall records and we're done. As for the loss experiment, a new realignment cycle starts next fall, so whatever didn't work in 2016-17, it's not going to be the same elements than in 17-18, with a number of schools moving up or going down in classification. Edenton, for example, dropping from 2A to 1A. Playoff system, nice try. Shimon now. NENC Twitter shouts on the way when we return.
Like our Facebook page and give us your questions and comments. Find us at facebook.com/NENC Sports.
Discover graduate education at Elizabeth City State University. ECSU currently offers 4 graduate degree programs: elementary education, biological sciences, school administration, and mathematics. To learn more, contact the Office of Graduate Education at 252-335-3947 or online at ecsu.edu.
This goes out to you, my number one.
I won't stop until I see you, sugar. You know know who you are. This is for my number I see you. So many shots, wherever I go, I'm gonna keep on looking.
Sorry, I'm listening a little too long. It's like, I would say vintage Usher, but it's not. Like mid-2000s Usher. I played the heck out of that CD when I had it, too.
Yeah.
Not going to lie. It was a great CD. Great album from Usher. Well, some more great news.
Your tweets go here. Twitter shouts.
This, of course, about Northeastern North Carolina alums, courtesy of Troy Breathwaite. He's at Felix Bannock, FELIXBANNOCK. He tweets out, Currituck Hoops alum Zach Breathwaite, of course his son, selected preseason first-team All-Region by the Georgia Collegiate Athletic Association. Zach plays for Emory Oxford College. And to me, he's our version of Justin Jackson from UNC. Looks like him,
Okay.
at the lankiness to him. He plays like him, has an inside-outside game. You can put him in just about any spot on the court, and he can produce for you. So we encourage all of you to tweet about NENC Sports, and yours might get put on the air. Just post your thoughts or questions. We'll try to answer them. Use the hashtag NENC Sports. Football predictions.
NENC Picks of the Week.
Perquimans at Columbia. Perquimans.
I go with Perquimans.
I have to go with the Pirates.
Pirates need a dub.
Yeah.
When do you not need a dub? But Perquimans needs that dub. Mad Mesquite at Camden. Come on. Who are you underestimating?
Not Scott Jones.
We can make this like a Ghostbusters theme song. Who are you underestimating? Not Scott Jones. Dun, dun, dun. Clay will put that music in there. It'll sound good. It'll be really tight. It'll be tight. Camden beating Mad Mesquite by 50.
Yeah. Camden.
Give me Camden. Scott Jones, too much for him.
All right. And notice we just said Scott Jones. We're only talking about the players. Plymouth.
Much wisdom.
Plymouth at Gates. We've already mentioned this is for the Coastal 10 Championship. I mean, it's going to be so lit in Gates County. It's going to be so fired up in Gates County.
Mm-hmm.
So on fire. So lit that is going to light up a second stoplight in Gates County.
Oh, man.
There's going to be a second one. Not just Sunbury, baby.
Moving away from the mic.
That's going to be big time for Highway 158.
Right. Right. I didn't say where it was going to be. I mean, it could be Hobbsville. It could be, I don't know, Core Peak. It could be somewhere. There's going to be another stoplight just lights up out of nowhere because it's so on fire.
Oh, man.
For this game, Plymouth, the defending 1A state champions, coming to Gates. Gates, forget about Camden because you underestimated Scott Jones anyway. I'm going to go to Plymouth. You see what I did there?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, when you look at Plymouth, I mean, they had a very difficult non-conference schedule. I mean, a lot of people forget that. They went up against Northeastern and Edenton, who at that time, I believe, were flirting with state rankings. Also, lost to a tough Riverside team, but since then, they've been rolling in conference play. You got to think that they're going to keep that momentum and go with the Plymouth Vikings.
I must say I have tremendous respect for Coach Cody and the Plymouth football program. Numbers don't lie. But with that being said, as my man Chris Carter would say, come on, man. We know where I'm going with this one. Coach Matt Biggie's going to have the boys ready to play. The atmosphere is going to be electric.
I already described how electric it's going to be.
I've seen it firsthand. When you play in a game like that, the citizens of Gates County have nowhere else to go, so they're going to come out. And it's going to be a fun environment. Give me the Red Barons in a close, tight game. But I'm going to take Coach Biggie and his staff to get things figured out. Players going to play a clean game, no turnovers. Shock the Vikings.
Look, Gates hasn't had anything this big athletic-wise since Reynoldson and Cool Spring played for the church basketball championship.
And those church basketball games used to be heated.
Yes, I know. I'm a Berea and Blackwell alum. We'd go up there, and I swear there was probably 26-year-olds playing for Gates on the high school team. Guys have full-grown beards, dunking it. I mean, who are these guys I want to see some birth certificates.
Those guys will get off work at the shipyard and come play a little basketball.
On that rubbery court at the community center, like 5,000 lines on it. How many different sports are you playing in that gym that you need all of those lines? I see hopscotch lines, foursquare.
Versatile at Gates County.
I saw a pummel board. Is that what they call it? Gymnastics? I probably got that wrong. It's one of those. It's a board that's long that gymnastic people are on. I'm really showing how bad I am at gymnastics. But Clay will cut that out. Currituck Northeastern. Come on, Northeastern. Why am I? Why do I have to sit there and like take a second? Hey, listen, Currituck. Just last week against First Flight, a lot of emotion goes into that game. It's basically it's your homecoming now because you couldn't have it against Edenton early in the year. But turnovers once again, it just and First Flight is playing very well. That game turned into a rout.
Wow.
At halftime, and really it was just First Flight coasting. So bad that the daggone First Flight guys, somebody found a photo of the Currituck players and they put Jordan memes on the Currituck players. A photo of like 8 of the Currituck football guys. They put Jordan memes on every one of them.
Man.
Well, Currituck asked for it. One of the players said, like, you know what we're going to do tonight or something in the tweet. And like, look, don't set yourself up like that.
Yeah.
You know that could happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, poor Currituck. Now you got Northeastern at Edenton. I said last week that if they're going to win a game, this is it. I'm going emotion. I'm going with my heart. I'm going with the Knights. Didn't happen. So Northeastern.
Not so fast, gentlemen. Not so fast. As much respect as I have for Coach Moore in that program, I believe Coach John Wheeler is going to circle the troops, get them ready, get them right. I believe in Coach Cam Bolton and his offense. Those boys are going to be ready to play from Currituck now. They're going to be ready to play. Currituck Knights with the upset.
There you go.
Man, Moore's already went to the Chowan River last week. He's got to go in the Albemarle Sound now or something to really just take a dip. He can't. He's not going to be able to take any more heartbreak. Back-to-back conference losses for Northeastern. When has that happened? Not in this decade.
Mid-2000s, maybe.
It was like that one losing season Moore had, or even Pasquotank beat him. It would be something like that. That's probably it. Here is one advantage Currituck does have in the game, the passing game.
Yep.
Where Northeastern struggles. Currituck's going to throw the ball 25, 30 sometimes a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Coach
Currituck
Wheeler,
does.
Coach Bolton are going to try to sling it around a little bit, expose those matchups.
Right. That's really their only very slight advantage I see. And like any game, no turnovers. I know that sounds obvious, but especially in a game where you have no room for error, you can't afford to have 2 or 3 turnovers and you're going to beat Northeastern, not Currituck. So, but still Northeastern, especially at home, and especially they're fired up after the Hertford County loss. Bertie at Edenton, this is the one that intrigues me.
Yeah.
Because the Fighting Grantley Mazzelles and what Bertie has done this year has just impressed the living bejesus out of me.
Mm-hmm.
They've had 2 floods, injuries to key players like Corey Cherry. They had a guy this weekend that got in a car accident. Fortunately, not life-threatening injuries, but just another setback after setback after setback.
I believe this year they broke in a new quarterback as well.
Right.
I mean,
just keep throwing it on. Throw more stuff on the pile.
Yeah.
Throw a little more on there. Why not?
Yeah.
But right now, 5-5 are the Bertie Falcons, which is just it speaks to the job that Grantley Mazzell has been able to do to keep these guys together. I know a Bertie team a couple years ago that fell off when some stuff like this happened, and they were already done.
Mm-hmm.
They were hearing them basketballs like at week 4. But that's not happening with Bertie right now. Bertie has played itself into a possible playoff game, which does nothing but add confidence in the next year. It gives you another game to play. We're not talking about even winning or losing, but it gives you another game for those young guys to play. So when those guys come back off injury next year, you're going to have something. Windsor, it's going to be a scary place to go to again, not just because it's Bertie County, it can be kind of tough, but the football team on the field is going to be difficult again to play. And Edenton is not overlooking the Falcons. I know that very well. I've talked to a number of players and coaches. They're not overlooking anything here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it to Edenton. I am. They do have more horses here. But good gosh, this game is going to be closer than the experts think.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go with Edenton as well. This team's coming off a bye week. They know if they take care of their business, they're going to get at least a piece of the conference title if it breaks out that way. I'm going to go with Edenton.
You know, I hate to make it a clean sweep. And like you said it all. Coach Mazelle's done a tremendous job with Berkeley football this year. There's a bright future for the Falcons moving forward. But kind of like I said, too much firepower with the Aces. Coach Hoggard's bench pressing the world, ready to go. The Aces,
sleeveless shirts, man. Got the gun show going off in Chowan County. In some ways, Chowan County. I'm not going to say it. Too soon? No, I'm not going to say it.
Oh, boy.
All right, so Hertford County at first flight. This is the other one that intrigues me. Of course, we're still dealing with that possible three-way tie for the conference or someone gets it outright. A couple people tweeted me, Hertford County players, saying, well, we got this. We get this W. And I'm like, don't sleep on Jim Prince and the Nighthawks. I'm not going to quite give him the underestimate Scott Jones line, but it's close. It's very close. Jim Prince, an excellent coach in his own right, each year does great things with sometimes not much. He's got a little bit this year. Jennings Baker, great running back. Braxton Hughes, guy can sling the ball around, but there's games that he doesn't have to do that. He didn't have to against Currituck. They're just going to run power. And boy, did they run.
Got some beef on the line.
Mr. Baker had 150 some yards in the first half against Currituck. Mm-hmm. The size on the line, that could maybe offset what Hertford County has on the line. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, Hertford County better watch out. This is the trappiest of trappiest games in trappy world that you could trappity get.
Yes.
Traptastically trap.
Yes.
Is what this game is. I'm giving it the first flight because Hertford County thinks they've won everything now. Mm-hmm. We just beat Almighty Northeastern. Ain't nothing going to stop us now. We're moving on up. Well, you're not the Jeffersons. So, first flight gets that big old dub. That means Hertford County, 2 losses in the conference, Northeastern Edenton, and look at that. The Eagles going to get that outright championship after all. The big old seed in the playoffs. Everything feels good, and everything's all right in Eagle Land. I figured it all out right then and there, thanks to the Dirty Nighthawk Birds, her first flight.
Even though I've kind of seen Hertford County, I think 3 times this year, they've committed some, pretty undisciplined, unsportsmanlike penalties.
First flight's not undisciplined by any means.
No, absolutely. I think the Bears are going to try. They're going to get it done. Feed the Cayenne Perry with the pass and the run. I think the Bears are going to find a way to get it done on the road in a tough environment. I'm going to go with the Bears in a close one.
Let's say I agree that this is not a easy game for Hertford County by any means. First flight's incredibly well coached. I remember seeing them in a 7-on-7 camp at Elizabeth City State over the summer. I was very impressed with how well coached they were and the ability they had. They had some guys that could make some plays and had a quarterback who could throw the ball around in multiple different ways, whether it be in the pocket or play action or from rollout or whatever the case may be. But I believe the answer to this game is going to be found up front. Can First Flight block Hertford County up front with their front 4? Can Hertford County pave the way up front with their offensive line? And I believe they will. So I'm going to go with the Bears.
ECSU at Bowie State, the story of all stories, the fighting Ernest Wiltons.
Yeah.
ECSU has a chance to win the North Division title, which means a spot in the CIAA championship game. You're not dreaming. You're not just hearing this and then you wake up. Mm-hmm. This is real. This is a real thing happening right now, thanks to 3 straight victories in the division. Mm-hmm. If Virginia State loses, ECSU wins. That's not far-fetched, people. No. This could happen.
Yeah. You got to think back. I mean, ECSU, they're 5-4 right now. You got to wonder if, going back to that John C. Smith game, at this point, if they win that game and there wasn't a particular personal foul call at the end of the game, they may already be locked into a winning record, no matter what happened.
Yeah, if there wasn't the Johnson and Johnson C. Smith that something happened,
right?
Then you got yourself maybe a different thing going on here.
Yeah, but regardless, at this point, it's been a good year for the Vikings. Can they get off to a fast start? That's been kind of their struggle the past few weeks. Last week in particular, 3 interceptions. Even though they did move the football, maybe one of the interceptions you can blame on Daquan. Other one, I believe, went off the receiver's hand. Another one, you could say was some miscommunication on the route. If ECSU can continue to move the football, cash in when they get into the red zone, the Vikings can pull off this upset. Defensively, they've been pretty good. They've been able to get off the field when they needed to. I think the Vikings are going to continue to roll, and they'll go into Bowie and get the win and see what happens after that.
Yeah, but we lost to Union.
Yeah.
ECSU beat Union.
Yes.
I'll go by some simple math. Although it's at Bowie,
yeah,
I'm riding the ECSU train. What the heck? I mean, at this point, their confidence has got to be through the roof.
Yeah.
Coach Wilson's going to get him fat contract extension, I'm sure, from the Vikings after this incredible turnaround. 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
We all said 3 wins would just be, that's nice to say. 3 wins this year, and you got 5. You could have a winning season that hasn't happened since 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! It's been something else, and I think it's really just it's maybe helped ECSU go, okay, we have something halfway decent in athletics again. Because when's the last time ECSU's had a winning record in anything athletic wise in the past couple of seasons? Really? I don't mean that to be harsh. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
When does that happen? And I'm not talking about like 1-0 starting a year or something like that. I mean late in the season for your football, your basketball. You don't even have baseball anymore.
Volleyball's been a struggle.
Same thing. It's just all the way up and down. You look at it, it's been that way for the last 3 or 4 years. It's almost parallel to the enrollment being dropped. It's just what it is. But now, just being 5-4 has to mean a lot to the alums, and it says something.
Yeah, after the game against Virginia Union, I mean, Coach Wilson seemed like he was the man of the hour. Everybody wanted to be around him, you know. So it's interesting what winning can do. Is not all of a sudden not a lot of people talking about the whole 2-32 over in Savannah State. That's what winning does for you.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking ECSU as well. Graham.
I will ride all aboard the train, baby. All aboard the train. I'm going to go with the Vikings. I believe Coach Hilliard to get that defense ready. Believe defensively, look out for 2 or 3 key turnovers. I believe they're going to force Bowie to turn the ball over. Coach Wilson will definitely have the offense and the entire team ready. Daquan Neal is a special athlete now. He is a tremendous athlete. Very rarely do you see the best athlete on the field play the quarterback position. But that's the case every time Elizabeth City State takes the field. And if he can come out and be efficient, what I mean by efficient is complete 60% of his passes and come out and not turn the ball over, continue to run the rock like he's been doing, it's going to lead to a win on Saturday for the Vikings.
And that's where ECSU has found just enough balance with that motley crew of running backs that Wilson sort of put together, guys who would be like 6th string for maybe other CIAA schools even, Deshaun Sanders,
Gregory Bryant.
These guys that didn't even know who they were really at the start of the year. He's made it work. He gets enough production out of them, knowing that even with those guys, Neal's probably your best runner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they try to run it through him, and even when they had a little revolt within the running backs, you know, some guys had to sit a little bit and come back. I mean, it just seems like they're starting to get their groove here in terms of the running backs the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, so
Coach Wilson's a guy who's been around the block in terms of dealing with all that kind of stuff. And he's been in situations where he's had quarterbacks who can run the football and run it exceptionally well. And he's been in situations where the quarterback was a statue. So he knows how to adjust those pieces in order to make them things work to the best of their ability.
Okay, so let's get to some updates with some high school information. Or first, I want to note Gaddis Hodges, another real good friend of ours, the NENC Encyclopedia, voice of Hertford County, voice of Chowan, going to be inducted into the Chowan Hall of Fame Saturday.
Awesome.
Before the Hawks' game against Lincoln. Great. I saw that. I just got a little giddy.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
Good for Gaddis.
That's the guy.
Yep.
I mean, why did this already happen?
Yep.
Named the daggone Hall of Fame after him. Jim Garrison, I guess, the man, of course, at Chowan. But I'm glad for him. I mean, that's a guy that just has done a lot for this area. I don't know if he gets the recognition he deserves, and he's not going to sit there and put himself out there by any means. But I mean, his talk show, I learned a lot from his sports talk show for us to start to do ours. I modeled a good bit after that. So it's just great honor for Gaddis. Good job there, buddy. And I know we'll be talking to him again soon. ECSU women's basketball going to play at UNC Monday in an exhibition, 6 o'clock. Malcolm, you're making some plans to go to Chapel Hill, Carmichael Arena. I'm sure ECSU is getting a few bucks out of it. No problem with that. Go ahead and get yourself an ACC game. See what you do. That's really what it's about. Enjoy the experience. So that's going to be big for the Lady Vikings' first competition of the year, going to play UNC. Volleyball, Currituck. What the Lady Knights have done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they only got to the 2A East Regional Championship. Don't know what happened against Carrboro if you're listening to this for the first time. That's a Thursday night game at Carrboro. Carrboro undefeated. Currituck 19-1. Just have gone through the playoffs. They got a great come from behind win against South Granville in the third round. That was the defending state champion. That's where people said, oh, wait a minute. Currituck really does have something. We've known that all year.
Yeah.
Great team. Cameron Johnson, Madeline Duncan on the outsides, Jordan Reynolds, a proven senior, Lauren Gurney. You just go on, Bethany Forehand. I could keep going on with names. This team has really come together. Do not have a defensive specialist on the team and still been able to do what they've done this year. Just a great team. And whatever happens from now on, it's the longest run for a Currituck girls program since 96.
Wow.
As far as a team playoff journey. So that's big. It's the longest for any Currituck program since 1999 for the dual team wrestling playoffs. So this is a big deal. Big deal in Barco. These things just don't happen every day. They don't happen every day for this corner. Currituck, Coach Jennifer Hopkins has said many times, we're representing the Northeast corner. We want everyone to stand up. Take the train with us. We got a train too. We're taking that thing to Orange County. We're going to see what we can do. No, we got nothing to lose, Carrboro's the big bad Ivan Drago of these playoffs. But you know what? Ivan Drago got cut too.
All right, go ahead.
I already said it.
You don't got an impression?
I mean, you know. If anyone could change, things could change. And with that, the Cold War ended.
This is what we do in the office anyway, so.
That's right. I mean, show's a show. But Currituck volleyball, again, an excellent year for the Lady Knights. Hopefully ends Saturday in the state championship at Reynolds Coliseum, the revamped Reynolds Coliseum. I'd love to see that on Saturday at noon. That's a 2A state championship game. Across country, 2A East Regional last week. First Flight boys and girls won. Skylar Stoltz, individual boys champ. Alex Rodman for the girls. State meet is also Saturday. It's in Kernersville. Girls tennis, Currituck Sarah Dover got to the semis of the 2A state tournament, lost to the eventual state champion. Soccer first round of the playoffs, that's Saturday. We got the projected teams in. Looks like Gates will be in, Burquimans, Camden, Manteo, Hatteras, and anyone else in that classification with the Pulse. In the 2As, pretty well locks for First Flight and Currituck. They got winning records. Obviously, First Flight, conference champion. Looks like they're going to have the 1 seed in the East because they went undefeated. Northeastern, like we said, complicated. Edenton, complicated. I don't think it is for Pasquotank. I think Pasquotank is out. They were last in the conference. Even Hertford County has some type of outside shot. It's so much harder to understand and estimate where these teams are going now because of this new playoff structure. We've already gone over it. I'm not going to explain it again. It's awkward, but it's what we live with. So with that, we're going to close up shop. But as we close, remember to follow us on Twitter at NENC Sports. I'm at ONOBX. Malcolm?
I'm at Malcolm_Shields.
Graham?
At Coach GC_Hobbs.
As for the latest sports updates, and pick up a copy of the Daily Advance newspaper. And we almost always go beyond our radio time. Go to YouTube, if you're not on it already, listening to us. Search for either WRVS 89.9 or NENC Sports. You'll find not just this episode, of course, but all the episodes of the third season, because now we're 12? Sounds like a third of the way through the season.
Sounds about right.
That just popped in my head. Amazing. So for Owen Hassel, Malcolm Shields, Graham Hobbs. Graham, will you be on the show again? We want to have you on one more time, at least this season. I think that'd be great.
I'd absolutely love it, guys. No doubt about it.
And good luck to you guys playing Old Dominion on Saturday. Go ahead and say thank you.
Just going to say thank you. 7 p.m. If you can't make it to Norfolk, we're on American Sports Network.
Yes, yeah. I let him get the plug. I didn't want him to lose the plug.
Check the herd out.
It's the NENC, and don't you see?
Athletes live here.
NENC Sports Radio Show is produced at the WRVS-FM studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University.